And we are back with another picks and predictions video for UFC 319 Du Plessis versus Chimaev. Sorry for not uploading last week. Was real busy, but I'm looking to make up for it this week with a bounce back performance, and hopefully we go 13-0. But before we get into that, I just want to give a huge shout out to the UFC Predictions Tracker. Despite me not uploading last week, I did send in my picks and predictions. I did include it as a post on the channel. He was gracious enough to include it in his video. Time and time again, this dude has proven to be an absolute stud. I'm so grateful to even be included in his predictions tracking. Really solid guy as well. So if you're not subscribed to him, please go ahead and do so. Take the time out your day, subscribe. Help him buy a coffee. Do all that stuff. He's an absolute stud. Also would like to give a huge shout out to All Season Sports. A really nice subscriber. He's been reaching out to me, making sure I'm okay. Bro, I'm all good. All love from here. Let's get straight into it with the picks and predictions. Starting off, we go to the flyweight division where we have Ultimate Fighter finale fight at the 125-pound division. We have Alibi Idris versus Joseph Morales, and I think it's going to be a cakewalk for Alibi. He's an undefeated fighter from Kazakhstan. He has some funky striking. He packs a lot of power, and I think he catches Joseph and puts Joseph out, winning by way of KO. But the odds, they're not really there for this fight, and it's two unproven prospects, so stay away from it in terms of betting, but I think Alibi gets it done. Moving on to the female flyweight division where we have Karine Silva set to face off against Ione Barbosa. This is grappler versus grappler. Karine Silva is, in my opinion, a much better, well-rounded fighter. She fights out of the Fighting Nerds training camp. Her striking is supposed to be a lot better. Ione Barbosa, she relies on having the fight taken down to the ground where she has top position and she works her way to a finish there, but I don't think she's going to be able to do that against a seasoned grappler like Karine. I think Karine gets his job done very easily. I think she even manages to sneak in a submission, but it's very possible that she wins by decision as well, by just dominance. But I'm leaning more towards her getting into mount, getting an armbar, or even taking the back and getting a rear naked choke. So the pick is going to be Karine Silva by submission, but no bet on the fight. Next up, we're going to the lightweight division where we have Edson Barbosa set to face off against Drakkar Klose. Both of these guys are coming off losses. Edson is coming off a loss to Lerone Murphy by decision, and Drakkar Klose is coming off a loss to Joel Alvarez by a devastating KO. I do think that Drakkar Klose can pull off the upset here as the underdog. I think he manages to get the fight down to the ground, control Edson there, land a bit of ground and pound, soften him up, and just keep him there. Edson Barbosa has proven, in my opinion, that once he gets taken down, he has a really hard time getting back up. And if you can do it in succession, it just take the will out of him. But Drakkar, he has proven that he can get caught with flying knees, spinning stuff, and that's what Edson Barbosa specializes in. But you're just praying for a flyer at that point. I think Drakkar Klose wins by unanimous decision, and the bet is going to be Drakkar Klose to win. Now we're moving back into the lightweight division where we have Alexander Hernandez set to face off against Chase, the Dream Hooper. I think Chase makes easy work of him. Alexander Hernandez, he's too reluctant when it comes to his striking. You can see him thinking through positions, and that's where his downfall happens to me in this fight. I think he thinks too much. I think Chase closes the distance. Chase manages to get takedowns, controls him there. Alexander does know his way on the mat, so it's going to be really hard for him to get a submission, but Chase is a tricky grappler. Alexander has lost by submission in the UFC to Renato Moicano, so kind of leaning more towards a Chase Hooper win by submission, but I'm definitely seeing Chase Hooper getting this one done. No bet on the fight, because if Hernandez just avoids getting submitted, but doesn't work his way back to the feet, doesn't keep it standing where he has his best work, Chase Hooper can win by decision, and he has no problem fighting 3 rounds as well. So Chase Hooper to win by sub is the pick, but no bet on the fight. Next up, we're going to the strawweights where we have Jessica Andrade set to face off against Lupita Godinez. And this one is one you definitely want to stay away from in terms of betting. Hear me out. Lupita Godinez, her path to victory is taking the fight down to the ground and working her for 3 rounds, winning by unanimous decision. That's the way she should win the fight. That's the way she should handle this fight. Jessica Andrade, she wants to keep the fight standing, land some of that power, and put Lupita out. Lupita, if she was to fight smart, she would take the fight down to the ground. The girl, she likes to stand up and trade with people and think she's a striker when she's really, really not. If she does this against a girl who packs a lot of power in her punch like Jessica Andrade, she's going to get put out cold. I think Lupita is going to fight smart enough, have the wherewithal to out wrestle Jessica, and win by decision, but definitely stay away from it in terms of betting. WMMA, really, really unpredictable sometimes, especially when you have a girl like Lupita fighting for you. Next up, we're going to the 185-pound division where we have Baisanger Susurkayev, who looked absolutely sensational in the Contender Series debut he had this Tuesday, set to face off against Eric Nolan. This is a layup for him. Susurkayev, he looked phenomenal in the striking. Even when you pressed him up against the cage, he was outlanding his opponent. The dude, I thought he would be a wrestler, but when looking at tape, he's actually a really, really good striker. Has a lot of power in those hands, just controls the octagon very well. If he manages to get in top position, he's a beast from there. I think it's an easy KO for him. I think he wins in under 1.5 because he always wins fights in the first round. The majority of his fights are first round finishes. So the bet for this one is going to be Susurkayev to win under 1.5, but there's not much value in it, but I just see it happening. It's just so easy and predictable for that to happen. Next up, we're going back to the middleweights where we have Gerald Meerschaert set to face off against McCall Oleksiejczuk. This one is a tough fight to pick, tough one to bet as well. McCall, he is a really, really talented striker, but not the greatest grappler. Gerald Meerschaert, he's a guy who's very, very talented on the ground, but it's very hard for him to get the fights there in the first place. I think McCall puts him out cold. It's going to be really, really sad to see Gerald Meerschaert go out like this, but McCall is just too good in the striking. Gerald Meerschaert, he exposes his chin way too much. If he takes the fight down to the ground, he should make easy work of McCall, but it's just not going to happen in my opinion. So McCall to win by KO is the pick, but no bet on the fight. Back to the flyweights we go, where we have Tim Elliott set to face off against Kai Asakura, and this one is a really, really surprising fight for me. I think the odds should have been a lot closer. I think there's a lot of value on Tim Elliott here because Kai Asakura, he's an absolutely phenomenal striker. Tim Elliott, not a great striker, but one hell of a wrestler. Kai Asakura, he did show good takedown defense against a guy like Alessandro Pantoja in his debut, but eventually he got taken down to the ground and submitted. Tim Elliott, he's going to be relentless on his takedowns. He's not going to want to strike with this dude at all. If he does, he gets put out cold. But there's really, really good value in Tim Elliott using his wrestling, tiring out Kai, and winning by decision. And that's how I see this fight going. I think the experience of Tim Elliott is going to reign supreme. He's going to get the fight down to the ground at will. He may have problems in the first round, which is much better in terms of live betting, but I think he wins the second and the third. So Tim Elliott to win by decision is the pick and the play for this one. The play is going to be Tim Elliott to win. Next up, we're going to the 185-pound division where we have Jared Cannonier set to face off against Michael Venom Page. This one is going to be a powerhouse versus a very technical point fighter. Jared Cannonier, his path to victory is catching Michael Venom Page and putting him out. Michael Venom Page is actually a 170-pounder who's fighting up a weight class, so his power is not really going to be able to match Jared's, but his technique definitely surpasses Jared's. I think he manages to outpoint Jared, frustrate him, and just win a unanimous decision here. The pick and the play is going to be Michael Venom Page to win. On to the welterweights where we have Carlos Prates set to face off against Jeff Neal, and I think this one goes yet again to the fighting nerds. I think Carlos Prates has too much one-hitter quitter power in this division. I think Jeff Neal gives him a lot of respect, sometimes too much respect, and when he goes charging in, he gets caught and put out cold. Carlos has just got that touch of death, guys, and I think he wins this one. It's also possible that he just makes Jeff Neal too tentative and wins a point fight like what Ian Gary did. But you see, Ian Gary doesn't have the power that Carlos Prates wins, so leaning towards KO Carlos Prates, but it's very possible that he wins by decision, so stay away from it in terms of betting, but Carlos Prates to win by KO is the pick for this one. On to the featherweights, where we have Lerone Murphy set to face off against Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico is really explosive, guys, but I like the side of the underdog. I think his technique is better. I think his movement's better. I think he gets away from the powerful shots of Aaron Pico. I think he avoids being taken down from Aaron Pico, and I think he just outpoints him for the entirety of the fight. Picking the play is going to be Lerone Murphy to extend his undefeated streak and win yet another decision. Now on to the main event, where we have Khamzat Chimaev set to challenge Dricus du Plessis for the undisputed middleweight title. I like the side of the underdog here. I think he gets dominated for the first round and a half, and then after, the cardio plays a big factor in the fight. Khamzat gets put out in the later half. That's how I see this one going. A lot of people like the side of Khamzat. I understand it. You're going to see Khamzat look as a huge favorite in the first round for sure, especially if he gets the fight down early. Dricus understands that. Dricus welcomes it. But I don't think Dricus gets finished. He's really hard to finish. And when Khamzat can't finish him and use up all his energy in the first round, like what he did against Kamaru Usman, it's going to be really hard for him to get that second win and get Dricus down to the floor regularly for the rest of the fight. Dricus is going to be there for all 5 rounds. So I think Dricus turns it on from the second round onward and wins the fight. I even see him getting a finish. I think Dricus manages to win by KO. It's going to be really hard for him to submit a guy like Khamzat. I don't think Khamzat gets put in a guillotine and taps, or put in a rear naked choke and taps. He's going to get put out cold if he does get submitted. But I think he gets put down out of exhaustion and loses the fight by TKO. That's going to be a pick. It's very controversial, but Dricus is that guy. He's defied all odds before, and I think he does it yet again. And that has been my picks and predictions for UFC 319. Be sure to leave a like. Let me know what you think of it down below. Subscribe, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Twitter, support the channel on the Patreon, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, game time.